Alright, we're going to be doing something a little bit different today, a little bit unusual, and it's going to be me demoing an Arma mission, which is going to be interesting, I think. It's something I've been working on today, and working on over the past little bit of time, setting up the base, setting up the playable slots and everything. But essentially, yeah, we've got this big, obviously, skipping over here. There's a lot of fireworks happening. That's great. That is fantastic. Smoke effects are looking great here. Getting a little sidetracked, but yeah, this is working about how I would like, which is fantastic. Okay, awesome. So the general concept of this mission is that you have this gigantic attacking force of CSAT, and they are attacking this tiny little base, right? And we have our nice little base over here. These are not named locations yet. Just, you know, the startings of a mission for the teams. Oh, that's awesome that you can see that on the map. That is great. You can see those missiles out there. Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. That is great. So that's working. But obviously the ground forces are now overwhelming them. That's great. This anti-air is going to help a lot. Super Hornet took off. Oh, this is all fantastic. Yeah, this is pretty much exactly what I wanted to go for with making this kind of mission. So that's exciting. That's real exciting. Alright. Our poor F-22 is going down here. Wow. Yeah, that explosion effect, that looks fantastic. That is great. Smoke, still a little bit buggy, but that's okay. And so yeah, at this point, usually, you know, they're probably going to be, like, armed up maybe by now. So they're going to be moving into an area that's obviously under heavy siege by the enemy. They're not going to know if we're in control of the airport at all, unless they're following the contact reports and everything here. And it's just going to be a mess in general, which is great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Love it. Looks like one of those tanks went down, the other one's still alive, and they just have so much armor too, which is great. And unbeknownst to them, there might be some extra plot twists here. But they'll only see that if they watch this video. Anyways, we've got some dynamic fire starting here. In general, performance seems to be pretty good. I'm going to be running... Wow, something just whipped by the camera there. But I'm going to be running this without our intelligent standby list cleaner, because I think it's going to be interesting to see how it works without it. We also put some boats out here just to keep things spicy, just in case the players decide to get real smart. And try to use some boats, try to do some naval operation stuff. I think that's going to be interesting too. Yeah, the anti-air is very, very effective, so we might need to limit the amount of anti-air that the base has, but I think it's pretty reasonable to have one or two of these guys at the base, all things considered. I love the look of that. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. Obviously, the tanks are going to help defend a lot, but they're not going to be able to do everything. And then, like I said, the job of our forces over here are going to be to actually clear the enemy out. So we're going to spawn in a reasonable amount of NATO guys and just assume, obviously, that they'd start pushing in to maybe hit the enemy in the rear, I would guess is what they're going to try to do, or maybe they'll try to take the town. They could also try to land over here, which you would think would be safe, but there's some plot twist, like I said. And those might be randomly spawned, I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, okay, so obviously if they get some nice defilade back here, we'll spawn up a bunch of stuff that they may or may not have, and then move them in. And let's just see how all these guys do. Obviously they're not going to be players, but it'll be interesting, I think. There's definitely going to be some lag without using the intelligent standby list cleaner. I just want to see if this computer can actually handle, you know, obviously recording or streaming it, because I plan to stream it, while also having everything else going on. I love how quiet everything got here. It's great. There's spreading fire happening out there. They still have 2 tanks, which is really important. If those tanks go down, they're going to be having big problems. You can see that's like a boon for them, is being able to fire at these tanks. Yeah, if those tanks go down, NATO's going to be in huge trouble. Yeah, it's a combination of NATO as well as Ion. They have some PMCs in the area. If I can zoom in, there's one standing dangerously close to a fire. Tank shells. The tanks are kind of trading with stuff back and forth here. The enemy's going to be smart enough to fire tank shells at buildings and things like that too with the mod list, which is great. It's fantastic. And yeah, I just love, like I said, I just love the look of this. That's great. As far as things that actually got destroyed before the combat really started, the anti-air guns lived, the tanks lived. The only thing that really got shot down for friendlies as far as vehicle stuff was the Little Bird, if I remember correctly. That went down pretty fast. It's probably just in this mess in here somewhere. Yep, there it is. The enemy did send forward some kind of recon-y jeeps that did some damage here, but not really all that much damage. They took out this turret, which is a pretty big deal, but obviously they still have a lot of stuff defending the space. They've got auto riflemen up there and everything. We still have these boats over here, and it looks like the boat AI has some significant trouble with surmounting this tiny little area. So we're going to move this over to the side. And, you know, you just got to get creative when the AI has some problems. Which will happen. It's Arma. Yeah, I will have problems. That is pretty inevitable. So they're spotting some infantry out here, which is great. Looks like a little bit of a flanking action happened here with this auto rifleman, which is going to be devastating if they don't pick that guy off, because he's suppressing them this way, this guy's suppressing them this way. Yeah, that's a nasty situation to be in, obviously. It does look like they got a lot of kills before they started taking casualties themselves, and so I'm guessing that what happened is the ambush happened here. They took out a decent amount that were in the open, and now they're kind of stuck out in the open, and like I said, that auto rifleman's just being devastating over there. This guy is in a really, really nasty position. Well, it's hard for them to figure out exactly where he's shooting from, because they're expecting fire from across this line. They're not expecting that there would have been stragglers this far back, which is good. That's cool. Obviously, they would have some helicopter support and some air support, so at this point, honestly, I would expect that they maybe start dropping on artillery. So we'll kind of simulate that. Just say, like, just drop it on the town, you know. And they can do 5 shots. We'll do 5 shots with a dispersion that would be pretty reasonable. So it did some damage there. Definitely hurt them. Definitely broke up the formation. I'm seeing tracers over this way. Wow, that tank just got hit. That's not great. Tank's getting hit a lot. It just can't see through the smoke. Tank shell went off real wide. Wow. Those Merkavas can take a beating in Arma, but eventually something's gonna kill it here. Now granted, all of this stuff is hitting their front armor. It looks like it's still pretty intact here. That dead body, for the record, I believe is a CSAT soldier, but it could be US. No, it's an Ion guy. It's one of the PMCs. But it looks like that tank is still rolling. It was one of my worries with giving them these Merkavas. They have extraordinarily good stats in Arma. I'm a little bit worried that these tanks make it a little bit too easy for them to defend. But this is also the first mission that everyone's going to be back on in Arma after a long hiatus not being on Arma. So I think it's reasonable to... Wow, look at that look at that anti-armor there. It's taken hits, but again, like I said, a lot of it's front armor, and the front armor on the Merkava is really, really strong. Like, it took how many rockets to take that out? So yeah. So it does look like, as it says at MBT, aim aimed at a tank. It went down, which is notable. These boats look to be outside of the range of actually doing too much good here. So I moved them a little bit further up. But if they can see in and start, you know, shelling and doing damage with their guns, could be interesting. At this point, I would say that they'd probably be calling for reinforcements, so we might start doing that. Obviously, if they call in for reinforcements right on top of this location, it's probably going to play out pretty badly. But let's just see. Let's just see. So reinforcements, create an Ares, what is it? And then spawn reinforcements. So yeah, so you want create an LZ. So we'll say give them an LZ back here, LZ Alpha. Right. And then we'll create a rally point, which will be, you know, pushing into the town. And then we'll go back and spawn reinforcements. It'll take a few seconds for this whole sequence to occur, because it takes a bit of time. Oh, sometimes it takes a lot of time to load up the menu, but the menu loaded up instantly. That's exciting. Okay, cool. So, obviously they're under NATO. So we're going to be doing infantry and a weapons squad to, like, give them, you know, a decent amount of, you know, AT and stuff to work with here. We're going to give them a helicopter, yep, and then the Ghost Hawk. And let's just see if they would spawn reinforcements and say, like, just come down on this position, you know. Let's just see how it would play out. How quickly they get shot at or shot down. It does look like a decent amount of damage has occurred, though. The combination of the artillery, along with all of this infantry, that's all really good. So these guys did do some damage, even if they had a lot of casualties. Radar contacts with Ghost Hawks are flying in. They're trying to do some stuff here. Hopefully they don't land right on top of each other, but, I mean, I guess we'll see. Meanwhile, we have our kind of spooky special forces over here that may or may not be a plot twist I've thrown in for the guys that have been creeping up on the base this entire time, which I like that as kind of a boss fight after they deal with all of the infantry, all the mechanized stuff. Well, a rocket just went wide out there and went off somewhere, so they did shoot a rocket at the helicopters, which is notable. Whoa, and another one. Wow, those are getting real close. Whoa! Third one. Again, I love the look of this. This is so awesome. Oh god, with all these mods, just how good the view distance works and everything now is just, like, really exciting. All the dust. Oh jeez. Yeah, that rocket did hit. That's really bad. Looks like the helicopter's trying to... Nope. Nah, that is absolutely down. Hopefully it doesn't go off, and the guys can get away from it in time. But again, like I said, this is mostly just me simming to see how difficult of a mission this would be for everyone coming back. And again, on the map, they're going to be getting, like, a decent amount of information just from everything that's happening, you know. we saw when they were firing off rockets. You could see those on the map and everything. It does look like, despite literally getting hit with a rocket, and it even looks like all the helicopter pilots, they all made it out too, so that's kind of cool too. I'm surprised that they all made it out okay. That's awesome though. So they got hit. They took definitely some possible injuries, but it doesn't look like they had any casualties because there's no bodies here. So no injuries so big that it took people completely out of the fight. These boats are still patrolling out here, and honestly, I think that's fine. Just to put them out there as a threat, to just be like, oh, there's something to be concerned about. It's just, you know, these little invasion boats. So it does look like if they send helicopters right in at this point, as long as it's progressed this far, the infantry is far too dispersed and far too moved up to really form like a coordinated attack on those helos, and the APCs, because they're so far up and everything, they can't really do that much damage without, like, tailing it all the way back. And obviously they're in a much more valuable position sieging the base here. We do have one tank that's still alive, sitting back there. I'm trying to be hands-off as possible and just look and see how everything plays out, because I'd like to kind of play this on the ground with the guys and everything, too. That could be cool. I'd like to at least do a little bit of that, but yeah. Obviously, I'll also be doing the Zeus stuff and you know, curating this mission as best as I can. We do have a really cool function now available, which I can essentially just clear the task for an infantry unit. So I've completely reset that unit, and now I can command it instead to push into the town. And so they might still have disagreements with that, they might not do that, but the fact is that they basically, all of their previous orders were cleared, and now they have orders to move into the town. Obviously, with all the AI mods, they're still going to be trying to, like, again, you can see these guys did not move in a straight line, they moved all the way down the cover here, this kind of, like, little, you know, patch of reeds, and moved up here pretty far outside of contact. You can see how, like, they had a nice hill to hide behind, and then once they crested the road, they didn't really have to stay up there for too long, and now they're back down here in relative safety, moving into the town, which is great. Obviously, I can do some stuff now, like I could have these guys garrisoning up in the town, give them a few targets to work with here. I think that's pretty reasonable. As long as none of them are, nope, not that. As long as none of the players can see me doing this, I think it's pretty reasonable that we just put in some random fire teams, random sentries, and have them guard up the area. And we can do that pretty quickly with just garrison, self-random, teleport unit. Real quick. Test garrison. And just, if these guys are hit, yeah, so now we have a nice garrison in this area of some guys in some cover. We can move this guy since I think he bugged out, have him completely reset him. And then, yeah, he should be able to reset himself and get back on track. Generally speaking, though, looking at these guys, I'm okay with their positions. This guy is an absolute jerk. If you try to walk into this building, he'll just ice you, which is pretty funny. This guy in that building, yeah, I'm okay with that. We can maybe move them around a little bit, but just in general, that way they have some stuff to work with that they have to shoot at to get into the town. It's reasonable to assume that they would have left some kind of rearguard stuff, which is great. And yeah, now these guys are moving in, they're creeping up. Again, I love the mods that we have running here. The AI is being really, really careful moving into the town. Again, the smoke trails just look fantastic. I love them. Like, seriously, those just look great. What got hit over here? Oh, that's just a jet, again. Sounds like either the tank shot at something. Yeah, it looks like there's something going on over here where it's this APC. That's a, Arma. Not a car, Arma. Got another one over here. I'm just looking to see if there's any friendly tanks left for the CSAT forces for Op 4. Looks like, yep, there it is. So it moved up to try to do some damage, but now it's getting hit in the rear, I'm guessing, from something, because it threw up a smoke screen behind it over there. Which is interesting. Our poor little anti-tank guy, our rifleman AT, tried to engage with him, but failed. Overall, if we want to, like, kind of just zoom out here and look at how everything's going, we have these infantry support that's coming up to help them, but yeah, obviously this base is in a pretty beleaguered state. It's not looking great for our heroes here, you know? The Ion forces are, like, completely held up in their kind of command post house there, the 2-story. And now they have a tank back behind them, which is pretty scary. Again, I could command this tank to attack it, but I'm trying to be as hands-off as possible, because really all we're doing here is we're testing to see how the mission plays out. So yeah, obviously, try to give the guys some variety. So right off the bat, they're probably going to be fighting in the open, off of the helicopter dismount, since they can't fly their helicopters right in and into the town. And drop off. That would be crazy, although maybe they will, for all we know. If they want to try something crazy. And then if they're flying in to the base, obviously they could do that too, but then they're kind of just pinned down in the same direction, which I don't think is a very good idea to fly right in. And on top of that, all of these guns are already facing them, and maybe flying in the helicopters, you know, over here or over here. They'd have a different approach. And this is another good example. If they fly the helicopters in from more like this, what would this be from the town? I guess the southwest. But if they'd fly it in from this more southwest approach, as opposed to just going straight over here and going for like southeast to south of the town, it's notable that they'd have a lot of forest cover to work with, but this would also take them a lot longer to get into the fight. And again, there is kind of a time is of the essence thing. They're trying to, you know, save as many lives here as possible. Because that's another thing, is we'll be looking at the number of people saved in the base and stuff. As an absolute failsafe for the base getting overwhelmed, they still do have these anti-air positions. I may at some point start giving the enemy some kind of, like, sea artillery-style pieces, and they'll just start bombarding the base with 155. That could be interesting. Maybe limit some of the fire support that, or some of that firepower that comes from those anti-air guns, because they are really, really good. Like, they're not just anti-air. This guy, you can see, he has a position where he can shoot and kind of defend a little bit, and he's in a nice position of cover. Wow, that one hero. You see this guy? This one guy is trying to take out that tank. My god. He's trying. I doesn't think he's injured, but the tank is tracking him. Not a really good screenshots here, just the smoke trails, they look great. Oh, he did get hit there. He has some red. He's running into cover, laying down, rolling. Again, the AI will lay down and roll and do all kinds of stuff on the server, which is wonderful. A little bit of the shift in the wind there of the smoke trails, and it looks like some of the smoke trails are finally dying off, which is notable. The fight's been going on long enough. And you'll notice, too, that as time goes on, we are getting a bit more sunlight. The atmosphere is really just perfect for this mission. I love it, with the cloud coverage and everything. This is great. It's really, really good. So let's check on our player characters and hypothetically where they'd be if they would have followed through on this plan. So at this point, assuming they're moving up carefully, which they may or may not be doing, we don't know. But if they are, they would be at this position here. They're starting to move into... Whoa! Ho-ho! That lit up the night sky. So it looks like this tank shell straight up penetrated this APC and went straight out the other side of that IFE. But unfortunately, that lit this tank up so much that they really completely see its position now. And I saw 2 rockets going. 1 rocket hit the tank. So that's a concern. And we also have these really scary Special Forces guys up, which are now moving into position. They're going to be doing a lot of damage. For all I know, those are the people that are shooting the rockets, too. Wouldn't surprise me. I did give them a decent amount of AT and demolition experts and EOD style guys, so they have a lot of options for taking out armor and infrastructure. And I thought that that was kind of going to be a fun, clever little twist, since I randomly spawned some kind of special forces guys on the map. So that's cool. That's fun. It looks like the guys here are a little bit held up on what to do, so we will quick reset our AI again. It's such a great button to have. It also helped to clear up some of our RAM. It was nice. So, we can have them keep pushing into the town to at least retake the town, and then use that as kind of a staging area to retake the base. It's great. You can see with the AI reset, they're kind of grouping back up to move in, which is awesome. I love that I have that as a button now. That's just... it's lovely if you know anything about Arma and how the AI works. Yeah, the recon guys are moving in. They're doing damage. Just really quite scary. They're just sniping these poor backline pilots and engineers in the background and stuff. Crewmen, all that kind of stuff. And obviously I can just use some effects, like if they get close enough to one of these, I could possess using them, or I could command one to walk over to this vehicle, and if they get there, I can just place an explosive playing as the guy, and that'll be nice. Looks like we got some more fire happening here. And the server FPS I can definitely tell was going down, which is why we'll likely be doing another test with the intelligent standby list cleaner. I could run that right now just to see if we crash, because I do think we have a decent enough amount of data right now. You gotta keep in mind too with this that they could be using other options. We could have them say at this point, because I would caution them against attacking directly into civilian infrastructure, but at this point they just might make the call to just say like, well, we're never going to take this town without air support, so we're going to call in a gun run with the A-10s on, let's be generous and give them like a decent shot at killing some of the enemies here. So we're going to wait. It's going to have to lag and load a little bit, which maybe we should have run the intelligent standby list cleaner before we did this, but no, we're good. Okay, awesome. And yeah, that's actually the exact direction I want, so that works out south to north in a straight line there. So, you know, let's just assume they have, like, decent intelligence on where it is, and they're going to call that in. They may even use the Blackfish gunship support, which is an extremely powerful asset. They can use that to blow up quite a lot of stuff. We're going to free this guy so we can run out and do some damage, but let's check here. So that was pretty spot on, but we don't know if it inflicted any casualties yet. Sometimes it takes a second for the AI kind of succumb to their damage. It does look like I see some blood. It does look like it definitely hurt this house, but unfortunately didn't really do too much. So that's, you know, luck of the draw and whatnot. Sometimes your enemy can just get really lucky. We're going to go into the danger waypoints and reset this unit to tasking. So now it's still aware of everything that's happening, obviously, but now it can move freely and do what it wants to do. This guy's been trying to suppress that house, which is funny. That's good. Smoke looks fantastic on the server now that I fixed that. That's just a standard smoke grenade, and it looks great. I'm glad that that was all fixed up. Just removing that Hope Core mod was a huge deal. Wow, they're gonna go in with the smoke. Oh gosh, this is gonna be bloody. And they're smart enough again that if someone's gone down but they're just incapacitated, they may do that until that character dies for sure. I've had the AI do that to me, so I can definitely verify it's a thing.
Gotta reload!
Trying to snipe some guys, that's cool. And we're seeing some machine gun suppression from back here. I actually really like their position back here behind this house, because even if this house doesn't seem like it provides that much cover, you know, they can back up. They have this as an option right here. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend going further down the road, but this house is like a really good kind of staging point for attacking. It's not out of grenade launcher range, but it's kind of like at that range where it's a little bit obnoxious to land those shots. They can go into this house, and it's actually really well protected from the other side. There's no like open windows or anything there where they could like fire something through and do damage. Yeah, that's pretty good hard cover there for like, you know, you have the machine guns in the back, and you can cover, you know, all this whole section of town, and you can see this way too for flanks. I mean, that's not a bad position. I like that position. They're still pushing in. We go back to the base and see how they're doing. It looks like the special forces are all grouped up here, which is I wouldn't, you know, recommend. It does look like they sniped someone in the helicopter, so we're gonna have these guys get out. I think it's pretty reasonable to say that these guys will probably get out. I won't give them any waypoints, though. I'll just have them get out and see what they do from there. Less waypoints, less load on the server. It looks like, yeah, they've completely swept in. The Ion guys are here. We're going to give these guys an interesting order. We're going to reset their tasking, but then we're going to give them a CQB, which is to, in a 50-meter radius, search buildings, which is really exciting. That we have that as a command now. So now these poor Ion guys are holding out in here. They're trying their best. Half their building is gone, but now they're going to have to deal with these guys investigating the buildings. Which is great that I have a command that I can even do that with the AI here. I'm really, again, excited about that. So that's definitely fun. This guy is not in a great spot to snipe these guys. I might kind of want to move him a little bit. I don't know. Obviously, he's just trying to stay in cover, but it would be kind of nice if he was in a position where he could start picking guys off. Looks like we just saw a rocket go off and hit the hangar. It may have been trying to hit this anti-aircraft vehicle. It looks like the turret is now rotated, but it's not shooting yet. Just interesting. Maybe it was trying to hit the tank too, but I feel like that was really off. It was trying to hit the tank. Yeah, these guys are still having a bit of difficulty entering buildings, so we might just reset their tasking again. There's no, like... Yeah, they're not, like, linked up with something that's really far away. Sometimes that's an issue. There we go. That's good. So now these guys are shooting down at them, and now they're actually trying to CQB and stuff. That's good. Wow, they're really going in. Oh my gosh. That's gonna be really bad. Wow. There's just so many of them is the problem. It's just so many. So yeah, they lost some guys there. We're gonna reset them, just so they can do whatever. But yeah, so the Ion guys are now completely dead so far as I have seen. There might be one or two stragglers around, but yeah, that's definitely pretty brutal. And again, we've got to factor in the fact that the players are going to be using potentially the airstrikes, the artillery, and the Blackfish is the big thing too. It's basically like that AC-130, you know, stuff. The Blackfish in this is a pretty scary vehicle. Let's see here. Arma Blackfish. Here we go. It's a VTOL transport, but it can be loaded up with quite a lot of armament on the side. It's pretty scary. And I'm looking to see... Yeah, here's the armed version. Yeah, it has a 40mm cannon, a 20mm minigun, and a 105 howitzer. Pretty spooky in general. The minigun, of course, 4,000 rounds of high explosive ammo. You have 100 rounds of the 105 and everything. Yeah, it's a scary, scary thing. Out here, it looks like these are the helicopter pilots that have some kind of bizarre waypoint to move over there. We're just going to kind of delete them, move them home, basically. Just say they got out okay. The tanks are shooting at stuff, which is interesting. This tank is still alive. Yeah, this tank is shooting at something. Not accurately, though. It may be trying to hit the enemy tank here. It's entirely possible. The fact that that tank's still alive, though, gives me a little bit of hope for the space. It looks like, wow, okay. Without any orders, the helicopter pilots and crew, they are trying to defend the space, which is awesome. They are doing what they can, obviously. Wonder what that tank is trying to hit. Maybe it's just trying to hit the infantry out here. It's really dangerous with the possible friendly fire. Meanwhile, looks like casualties are occurring over here. And again, it's just surprising that without that standby list cleaner, everything's been working so well here. These guys are pretty fiercely defending the town. It's definitely, you know, notable. And of course, I'll be giving them reinforcements here and there from time to time, too. I won't be as hands-off as this. We'll be, you know, playing around, throwing some mortars at them, throwing some artillery at the enemy, just to make it feel like more of this kind of crazy battlefield that's happening. And oftentimes I can just do this, too, where I can just go, like... And I can just, you know, have that as some background audio. So if you're over here, you just hear, like... See what I mean? And just hear that all the way out in the distance, which is great. Do some effects like that. They're real easy. And you can just add a lot of ambiance to the players there. We'll be doing that kind of stuff, obviously. It's definitely going to be rough for them to take this, so we're going to land some mortars over here just to simulate again. I'm calling down some mortars. I'll assume they'll be using the 5-shot because that is an option. Yeah, those look great. Those look fantastic. And wow, these guys are very durable. One of them fell unconscious there and may or may not die. But that's impressive that they got hit by all those mortars. Yeah, okay, he died. But that is very impressive that they survived that. So it's, and they're not like, yeah, they're just regular CSAT soldiers. Their armor is just real tough. Let's see here. We saw this guy way out in the middle of nowhere, the ammo bearer, which is interesting. We'll leave him out there. Meanwhile, the main fighting happening over here. Again, it looks like they've pretty much completely taken over this compound here, but they haven't taken over this compound here. The tank is still deterring a lot of their forward momentum, along with the, you know, AA guns. They don't just want to walk right into that. But they're kind of picking apart stuff, sending up people. I don't know if I would ever send a paramedic forward to attack, but the AI does what the AI does, I suppose. I feel like this guy is one of the most valuable members of your squad, but I suppose neither here or there. The decision's been made for him to charge at these helicopter crew and this tank, which is an interesting decision. Okay. So they're still pushing up. Again, like I said, it's possible that they could... Looks like some other people have died. It's perhaps they were injured from the mortar, and they've since died, since it doesn't look... Well, no, it looks like this guy. This guy may have nabbed those kills there. It's possible that he snuck up and nabbed those two guys. They're still kind of holding out back in this building here that saved them from an A-10 earlier. At this point, the A-10 probably is recharged, so it's possible that if I'm, like, reporting for the players, telling them, like, yeah, the forward compound was completely overrun. The ion compound, I should say, is completely overrun. They're like, we're just going to do a danger close. Gun run on it. I could see them doing that. So we'll just put it right in the middle here. Angle it, so hopefully it doesn't hit friendlies if it, you know, sweeps a little bit wider. And we'll see what happens there. Classic sounds of Arma. So, as far as damage incurred, wow, it actually does look it did do a significant amount of damage to them there, which is good. That's good. That definitely is going to deter the enemy. Yeah, they still have this puzzle to contend with, though. There's a tank out here and an APC, and that's kind of my hope, is that a standoff will occur where this tank won't want to push in, that tank won't want to push in, and it'll give the players a lot of kind of interesting leeway in trying to solve that situation of like, okay, these tanks are here, they're out in the open, which is obviously favorite terrain for them. We'd prefer if they'd be like in a city or something where you could hit them with smoke grenades and hit them with you know, explosives and rockets a lot easier. You could fire a rocket from, like, you know, go around the corner, shoot a rocket at a tank there, and then just run back into cover. When they're out in the open, their optics are pretty good, and it's a lot easier for them to see threats coming a mile away. So, like, this tank is in a pretty ideal position with its forward armor facing where they'd be coming from. That's definitely scary. Thankfully, like I said, it does look like the tank is giving them a little bit of support. You can see just how far away these tanks can engage enemies and stuff, and it looks like it picked off that guy. So we really just only have one guy from that particularly resilient fire team left here, which is cool. They're lagging a little bit, and I get that this commander is essentially, he's sending out these guys, he's using his binoculars, he's sending out his guys to kind of clear out these houses, clear out these structures. We're going to kind of wrap this fight up by going, again, danger waypoints, task reset, danger waypoints, task reset, and we're going to reset their tasking here. You can leave that one for now. And we're also going to reset this squad's tasking, and then, is that the only squad that's left here? No, there's this squad too. Where's the leader for that squad? Oh, it's here. Okay. We're going to reset this tasking as well. And then we're going to have them start pushing on the town. That's great. Yeah, it's good. Wow, we have all of these waypoint options too. It's great. Move is fine here. But yeah, like, wow, that's great. That's fantastic. And again, there's all kinds of things that I can do at this stage as far as them fighting stragglers. You know, I could have like a machine gun pop out of one of these windows and take pot shots down at them. Like maybe this window here, or go up there and just start shooting down at them. Or like this scaffolding or something, I could maybe have a soldier climb up this, lay down up here, and just start going like, you know, like very, very simple stuff that we could do. Ideally, I want to grab soldiers that already exist on the map and don't want to spawn in new threats for them, especially if it's in a building they've already checked. So you got to be careful about that. You're being a kind of an Arma game master, and you're trying to create a kind of living, breathing experience for your player. You want to be wary of kind of breaking their immersion by doing that kind of stuff without reason, I suppose, is a good way of phrasing it, you know? So yeah, that stuff's important. I try to move like the AI move as much as I can, just to make them think that it's an AI. And we can do something as simple as just take him upstairs now, and that's like a threat that they have to deal with now, you know? They've called out that this guy was spotted next to a building in the northeast section of Molos, and we can just jump out of this guy now. And now, yeah, that's just something they have to worry about now, which I think is fun. It's just a fun enemy to deal with, potentially. Yeah, he's doing damage. Cool. Alright. At this point, we could maybe send in some more reinforcements for the guys here. So we will push up LZ Alpha. Where the heck was that? Back here? Yeah. Okay. We could also make another LZ, I suppose, but this is fine. For our purposes for testing, we can just push up an LZ and just say, like, we've pretty much secured the town, have them land maybe, you know, southeast of the town, further up, and start attacking the enemy, which I think is pretty reasonable. We could maybe have them land over here. But, like I said, that is possibly in the range of their tanks. So it's just one of those things where they're going to have to test that out and see. We do have an APC that's moved up really, really far. I'm astounded that this tank cannot see that. It's possible that they're tunnel visioned on the infantry, but that seems like really... Maybe they just can't see it over the hill? Oh, well, they should see it now. We'll let that fight play out, because it's more important for us to be testing other stuff. I can watch an Atakar Arma shoot at a Merkaba Mark IV all day, but we're really here to, again, test out this mission for our friends. So we'll definitely give them some more reinforcements at this point. So, you know, they've got some variety in combat here, where they had to fight out in the open, right? And then they had to fight their way into the city. And they fought from open to kind of like small collections of buildings and walls to eventually a full urban environment where they're going to be obviously having to clear houses and stuff like that. And that pushes them up to now they have to leave this town, and the kind of final boss fights would be the combination of the tank and APC style stuff that's left on the battlefield, trying to keep the friendly tank alive despite its silliness and not noticing. It really is kind of bothering me, so I am going to tell it to engage that APC, and hopefully it does. I just think that either the gunner is knocked unconscious or there's something else is going on. But it does seem to be... Evac bent. Whoa! So yeah, the one helicopter, wow, both helicopters going down. That is not ideal. So that's a good example of a bad LZ. It's just way too close to the enemy, you know? Obviously, we could just say, like, drop off more guys at the original LZ. That could also be an option, you know? So we will do that. But just a good example of if they push their helicopters too far forward, that's a serious issue that could occur. That's great. So we'll push it back a little bit, but that's cool. That's cool. Ideally, I'll have them give me actual coordinates, you know, but they could also, you know, just say southeast of Molos, and, you know, I'll be a bit forgiving on that. But definitely worth noting. It does look like the boats ended up doing some stuff. Not sure where one of the boats went. That's interesting. Perhaps one of them sunk, although you would think you would see the object for that. It's interesting. And yeah, oh my gosh, look at these visuals. Look at that sunrise. And this is the hope. This is the hope that we'll get some of these visuals for this map. For this mission. I'm really, really looking forward to this. And that's the hope, is that when it goes from about 30 to 40% overcast, they'll get more of these like striking visuals as the sun comes up and then plays around with the lighting on the clouds. I'm hoping that they'll kind of get that as a little bit of a visual cool reward. Hopefully these helicopters do not collide, but it looks like they will. Yeah. That's okay. So, I mean, that's okay. So, I think an issue with this, definitely, is that we need to make multiple LZ locations. That's okay. That's fine. And that's pretty simple to remedy. We can just do that, and problem solved. It just looks like there are too many issues with both helicopters trying to land at the exact same LZ. So we will say definitely Bravo. And then spawn reinforcement. and Charlie. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And there's only one rally point, so they will go towards that. So yeah, that's a good little test that we did there. So just don't take any chances, just definitely go for the second. The combination of waypoints, or the combination of LZs, which is fine. Remind these forces that their goal is indeed to egress to. Their goal is to move to the town, move out of the town. Like their goal is to push through the town and get to the base, right? Like the town, as someone far greater than me once said, is just a sideshow. And so they absolutely can't be hanging around in this town getting nothing done. Like that is not the goal of this mission. They need to keep pushing, which is also going to help to kind of keep them on their toes. I want to definitely give them that feeling at the end of this mission that they like really earned recapturing the space, you know? Like they get there and like sure everything is in ruins, but even if they saved like 1 or 2 lives, you know, I want them to kind of get that feeling. Hopefully that happens. When they finally, after all of this fighting, of just seeing nothing but hostiles, they finally see, like, one friendly guy, you know, one friendly helicopter, you know, pilot or 2 holding out in, like, a shack or something like that against all odds, or this was one friendly tank, you know. I'm hoping that we end up giving them, you know, I'm hoping that I end up giving them that kind of fun visual here. I do like this one AT guy, this Viper operative. He's trying to, I'm actually curious as to how many Viper guys are even left alive here. Not that many. We may have to make them operate a little bit more carefully. You can see those helicopters landing. That's great. That's just... oh, God, yeah. And the clouds are clearing up. Oh, that looks great. That looks fantastic. Yeah, that's exactly the visuals I'm going for with this mission. That is just fantastic. Alright. It's very exciting. So now we have a lot of friendly forces that are moving up to try to, you know, help take that town. The main issues, of course, still being that they still have a tank, and they still have an APC, and that's kind of where things are going to get interesting, right? Are they going to call in, like, mortars or artillery on them? Are they going to try to land an A-10 with support? They could also call the A-10 with laser designation, like, say, like, follow this laser, you know? And then they'd specifically have, like, a laser designator that they're going to use, and try to laser des rocket a tank. They could use the Blackfish, but that would require them themselves to be firing accurately. The scary thing about using the Blackfish is that you're moving really fast, and like the targeter isn't exactly where you're targeting. It's like actually really far to the right if they're going counterclockwise, I suppose, around the objective. The bullets are actually going to travel not exactly to that targeter without you doing some specific settings in that interface. So, and even if it does go exactly where that's targeting, obviously they're trying to shoot a moving target, danger close, you know, on top of these friendlies, so that could be interesting to see. That could definitely be interesting to see. We still have this Viper doing its thing. We still have these guys, too, that are doing their thing. We are going to kind of free them, possibly, from their orders here, just to kind of spice things up a little bit. We could also keep them there. I think I'll keep them there, actually. That's fine. I'm okay with that. And now there's the 2 crash helicopters as a kind of reminder of the dangers of sending them too close to the enemy here. So yeah, that's definitely spooky. That's great. Yeah, I gave them a decent amount of support. I didn't give them a drone. Maybe I should give them a drone, just for more recon. For positions and callouts. That might really help them. But they could also just use the gunship for that too. But a drone's kind of different, obviously. The gunship, you know, it's going to be there for a bit, then it's going to have to go and refuel and rearm. Drone might be useful, but I don't want to give them too much intelligence, you know? I want a lot of this to be them on the ground trying to deal with this unique kind of combat situation. Although, you know, drone's just one more tool in a set of tools. No, I'll think about that. One more tool in the box, as it were. This guy is still just wandering around trying to do what he can to that tank. Meanwhile, these poor pilots, they're fighting Vipers, man. That's not easy. And just as I say it, one of them goes down. And it looks like we just have this pilot left. And wow, the tank getting hit again. I really don't know what's going on with this gunner. Should probably just check and see. Oh, he's a gunner. Very strange. But something definitely is off with that tank. The turret might be broken too, but it seems to rotate a little bit. Something's up with the tank. There may be some part that's damaged. That's not allowing them to fire. Or target things. It's entirely possible. Interesting. Random explosion in midair. Okay. Yeah, and with these guys moving up, I think that's mostly the mission. Oh, I see. Did someone actually shoot at the APC, maybe? Fired smoke. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I definitely think they have enough firepower, though, considering how restrained I was with using the firepower, and I have a feeling they'll be using those Collins a lot more. They definitely have the firepower to complete this mission, but they also don't have the firepower to just completely ice, like, everything, you know? So, yeah. I think this is a success for their first return to Arma mission. I would definitely call this a success. Viper getting lit up by the AA guns. And like I said, the AA guns, I think, are a nice stopgap where the enemy will not completely overrun the position. And since the AI is, you know, aware of their own life and trying to preserve it, with all these mods and stuff we have running, there's going to be like a significant... Again, a kind of a stalemate situation. It's going to be perfect for it's going to be perfect for our players moving in behind to kind of pincer the enemy. I really like this over here, using these woods. It's like if you're looking from this position, they have a little bit of high ground, so they can definitely use binoculars and see all the way to the base from these woods. This is a great position for getting some kind of intelligence, and same with this building too. As long as it has a window facing that way, well, it doesn't, but it has a balcony at least. But especially that hill, this tiny little, it's like a tiny little hill, and they have just enough, you know, they can see just into the town and stuff, and they probably can get some really good intelligence on where the enemy armor is, since it's like poking up and stuff, you know. That's great. That is fantastic. Something exploded. And yeah, while these tanks are really durable, I think the fact that they're staying back and just doing their thing, I think is fine. It would be silly for them to just charge out into the enemy and just die immediately. These guys are stacking up and checking houses and stuff before they move in. These guys are further up. It's great. I could delete that. That's probably just causing performance issues. Needless performance issues. But yeah, I mean, overall, our performance has been great here. I am sure that we still have over 10 free gigs of RAM out of our 32. Usually when we're running an Arma session, it'll fluctuate anywhere from 16 to way below 16 free. But, yeah, this seems to be fine. The Merkavas take even more hits. They're just so durable. It's a little bit absurd, but like I said, I think in the context of this mission, Their durability is fine. In the context of everyone's just kind of getting used to Arma again. This guy just collapsed from his injuries. Yeah, that's pretty much it, though. I think that is this mission in a nutshell. Which, yeah, what's this recording? Like an hour or so? Yeah. I think that's pretty reasonable. The mission's going to take place from like 4-ish a.m. to 5-ish a.m. And like I said, they're going to get these really, really pretty sunrise visuals. I think that that's overall going to be fantastic. And it'll start off more at night. And the sun will rise on their victory, which, you know, I think that's a nice, you know, bit on the nose, sure, but a nice visual for the end of their first return to Arma after a long, long time. Like I said, I can't stress enough the variety of, like, they gotta fight out in the open first because there's no way they can get into the town, they'll just die. They go over there, they're gonna get shot down. So really, it's just dropping in behind them, and I'll kind of stress that with the markers on the map too. Drop in behind them so you can kind of get these cool, kind of more classic Arma 3 fights of, like, you know, going between these little ditches and fighting out in the open, you know? And then eventually they're going to make their way into the town, clear through the town, and then push out of the town, out of that urban combat, and then again you just have these, like, little pieces of cover to save them from enemy armor, and then they've got to figure out the puzzle of taking out enemy armor. And again, with all the combined arms elements they have, from pretty much any gear they want in the base to the A10 and the artillery and the Blackfish, I think it's absurd that they won't figure out how to take out a tank or an APC or two, you know? Which is fine. I don't know necessarily that this mission needs, like, anything crazier than that for a boss fight. Like, obviously I could at some point blow up the anti-air and then have, like, a enemy gunship maybe come in and start doing damage, and then they have to figure out how to shoot that down. That could be kind of interesting, but I think that this is fine for an Arma mission. And again, I do really like the opening where, obviously they're not going to see it, but the carnage that is a result of the Su-34s and their completely ineffectual attack. It's not really going to do anything other than set up a bunch of smoke trails in dynamic locations that will be different every time for them to interact with, you know. And I don't think that the friendly F-22 will really do any damage either, considering that it's getting shot at the entire time. The chances of that thing really surviving are slim to none. So I think that that's okay. Nice. Alright. Well, I'm going to end this recording for now, but that is... What did I call this? Swift Dragonfly or Sharp Dragonfly or something. Swift Dragonfly sounds better. We'll probably do Swift Dragonfly for this. Yeah. Good stuff. Fantastic. Oh, this little piece of cover is nice. I like this. Little elements like this on the map are always nice, where you just have, like, this simple little area of raised terrain, so you can kind of see out all around you, and, you know, some hardcover. A lot of it can be penetrated by the you know, more heavy machine guns in this game, but, you know, it's nice. Smoke trails are going to constantly help as ways to orient them on the map. Awesome. It's great. Yep. And I think everything's great here. This is pretty perfect, and I'll just curate it as best I can from the air. We should test some other stuff, but I'm probably gonna save that for off the recording. And oh wow, look at that! These guys are taking out the boats. And it seems like the rockets are having some difficulty finding their targets. There was one. That's good, though. Presumably that boat will be on the run. Looks like it might beach itself. It's getting dangerously close over there. It got cover. That's great. I mean, obviously, if it goes out really, really far, it would just get shot by rockets, so that's cool that with no commands at all, the AI at least seemed to be pulling it into a state of cover. Obviously, beaching it here, maybe not the best idea, but that's okay. But yeah, that's cool. So these guys, and that's again another element that could happen as they're going along here, and they start getting hit from grenades from those boats hitting the shoreline. They go too close to the shoreline. But they've got so much cover with these trees and everything. I think that engagement could be absolutely fine. Wouldn't be like really one-sided in one direction, which is kind of what you want to avoid when you're like curating an Arma session. Is making things too one-sided. You swing things too far in the player's perspective, and they don't feel as though there's a challenge. And they're not really having any fun surmounting that challenge. But if you swing things too far in Op4's, favor, then you run into a situation where the players feel like their game master is basically just trying to kill them and not actually provide them with a fun experience. And they're going to be less interested in playing at all when they're like, oh, whatever, we're just going to die like 50 times, you know what I mean? So you want to avoid that, obviously. That's something you absolutely want to avoid. Interesting. There's still some people alive in this boat. They perhaps should be swimming. That's surprising. They don't have rebreathers that I know of. Maybe they do. No, they don't. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, we could just have them swim ashore somewhere over here. Sure, why not? Just send them over to that building. Or to this compound, I guess, would be better. That's fine. This guy's already ashore, too. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Like I said, these guys are pushing up. They're pretty much out of AT now, but like I said, the players just have so many options for dealing with the tanks. And they could also just, again, fight like some random enemy team. And it's like these are two missile specialists right there that have AT equipment that if they happen to kill them... So yeah. They're going to have a lot of options, I think, for surmounting the final vehicles that will almost certainly be alive. Now, obviously, the scenario could play out differently depending upon... It's not like there's always going to be a tank or an APC left, but it's reasonable to assume that at some point they'll run into a tank or APC that the friendly AI will not kill, or IFV, and they will need to tackle that objective. Which is good. And obviously, I can curate things. If things are too hard for them, I can maybe provide, like, extra artillery support as a call-in from another friendly AI. I could, again, do more A10 stuff. And if things are too easy for them, obviously, I mean, it's pretty easy to just have more forces come out of the trees here, or literally just send in, helicopters or APCs from, like, way back here and try to flank them, although it's a little bit risky. I don't want to necessarily hit them in the back when they're out in the open with no cover, Again, it's the trickiness with this. But I think that there's a decent amount of places where I could spawn enemies that they have not interacted with that area yet. So just in case the friendlies clear a bit too much for them, obviously I can make things more challenging. So yeah, awesome. That's this mission. Cool, I'm gonna go make some food, but I will, before I do that, I suppose I will just upload this completely uncut, no title screen or anything. Just throw this online. I don't know how many people are actually interested in seeing the kind of thought process behind a mission. Yeah, I'll make it so it's like, LZ is like extraordinarily close to enemies, but is, back here. And that's like their kind of get in ASAP, get out of the helicopter, and get to trench, you know, regroup at some rally point they specify, and yeah, that's gonna be it, I think. Awesome, awesome. All right, good stuff.